This is an expert called by the defense. Let's listen in.
The calculations to, let me see. I'm showing you an exhibit that's previously been marked as exhibit Triple C, which has been identified by Dr. Schaefer as a blood level for lorazepam based upon 2 milligram injections at 2 o'clock and a 2 milligram injection at 5 o'clock. That red line has been represented to be the blood level that would be achieved over the time that it would be achieved. You see that?
I do.
And would you be capable, based upon calculations, of estimating how many pills it would take to be orally ingested, say at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or 10 o'clock, whether they're all taken at 7 o'clock, whether they're all taken at 10 o'clock, or a combination of times? Overall, approximately how many pills would have to be consumed between 7 and 10 to get to a level of 0.169?
Are you asking me if I have, or?
Have you done that calculation?
Yes, I have.
And what amount of pills and what variables would it take? Have you considered in evaluating the amount of pills it would take?
Objection beyond this witness's area of expertise, Your Honor.
I must sustain the objection, absent further foundation. And when we use the term pills, I don't know what.
Well, okay. Are you familiar
But in terms of foundation, please inquire.
In your qualifications becoming certified by the state of California, have you learned to analyze samples and determine the approximate amount of drug ingested to obtain certain readings?
As part of the analytical toxicology process, no. I have learned how to use the calculation to determine dosage to therapeutic level, yes.
And what do you use to make that determination?
There's a formula available.
What is that formula?
I don't have it with me here. It is a dose to peak formula that uses the volume of distribution of a drug or of a person, and uses the elimination rate and the half-life of the drug.
And do you make these calculations on a regular basis in the course and scope of your employment?
No, I do not.
This would be an unusual situation?
Yes, it would.
Do you rely on the text, the lorazepam description in the book by Basalt?
I refer to Basalt. Basalt does not have this calculation in it.
Well, does Basalt have the calculation that you would expect to obtain by the ingestion of one tablet, 2 milligram tablet of lorazepam?
It does not have the calculation, but it does have what you would expect from the ingestion of 1 milligram.
And do you rely on that book?
Yes.
And what would you expect from the ingestion of 1 2 milligram tablet of lorazepam?
Well, I would have to refer to Basalt. I don't have that memorized.
If I could have just a minute, Your Honor.
You may, sure.
Showing you an article titled Lorazepam. You recognize that article?
I do.
And are these figures that you rely upon in determining half-life, absorption life, and what you'd get from a 2 milligram pill?
What you get from a 2 milligram pill is published in the article. Also is the half-life, and the volume of distribution is published in the article.
And what do you get from a 2 milligram pill?
According to Basalt, you're going to have a 2 milligram pill is going to have
Reading from the article.
Yes.
Well, is there an objection, or do you simply want the record to reflect?
Your Honor.
The objection is sustained, the partial answer is stricken. You may disregard, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you familiar with that article?
Yes,
Have you reviewed it before?
yes,
And have you relied upon it in determining the amount that you'd get from a 2 milligram pill?
yes.
And as a result of reading that article, does it refresh your recollection as to what that amount would be?
Yes.
What would you get from a 2 milligram pill?
You would get point,
Same objection.
The witness appears to be reading, so the partial answer is stricken. Please disregard. You may turn over the article. If you need to reference it, you can let us know. But I think the question is calling for your own opinion. Is that right, Mr. Flynn?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may re-inquire, please.
Mr. Hanson, in your opinion, what would you get from the ingestion of a 2 milligram pill?
from a 2 milligram pill, you get 0.018 micrograms per mil.
Okay, and do you have a recollection of the half-life of lorazepam?
It's about,
Vague, we're talking about absorption half-life?
Metabolic
I'm going to have to sustain the objection. Re-ask, please.
metabolism, burn-off, elimination half-life.
Objection relevance as to stomach absorption half-life.
I don't know in what context the question is phrased. Sustain.
Are you aware of what the elimination half-life is of lorazepam?
Objection vague unless we're specifying the absorption half-life in the stomach. That's what this chart refers to.
No,
All right. The objection is overruled. Do you understand the question?
I believe I do, yes.
You may answer.